Imagine this. You're standing in a crowded room, surrounded by people laughing, flirting, touching, lovers holding hands like lifelines. You scan the room and wonder, how many of them believe they've found the one? How many are certain that love is real, eternal, destined? And yet, behind every smile, every kiss, every vow, there's a strange unease, a fear no one dares name. Now imagine peeling back the curtain. Imagine discovering that this love, this sacred force that moves novels, wars, and hearts, might not be what you think it is. Not divine, not pure, but a cunning illusion. A trick played not by society, not by media, but by life itself. A trap hidden inside your very biology. What if the person you swore you'd die for was never meant to make you happy, but simply to make more of you? What if the wild craving you feel in their absence isn't proof of love, but evidence of a deeper manipulation, a blind force driving you without your consent? You might feel a tremor in your chest right now, some mix of dread and fascination. You're not alone. Schopenhauer felt it too. He saw through the curtain most are too terrified to touch. To him, love was not a blessing, it was the bait. A beautifully wrapped deception, masking a darker instinct. He called it the will to life, a force buried so deep inside you, you don't even realize it's making your choices for you. You think you're falling in love? But what if love is falling into you, like a parasite entering a host? You say you want a partner for companionship, intimacy, belonging, but look closer. The traits you're drawn to, the timing of your infatuations, even your heartbreaks, are they really yours? Or are you just the puppet and life the puppeteer? And if that's true, what does it say about your memories, your heartbreaks, your sacrifices? Were they ever real? This isn't just a philosophical riddle, it's a psychological wound, one that bleeds quietly in every failed relationship, every betrayal, every unreturned text at midnight. If love is an illusion, then so is the pain it causes. But tell that to someone who just lost the person they thought was everything. Can you bear to look directly at the possibility that love, the very thing we're told gives life meaning, might instead be the mask of a blind, indifferent force? And if you could see that force staring back at you in the mirror, what would you do? Because the truth, as Schopenhauer saw it, is not just unsettling. It's liberating, but only if you dare to face it. And to do that, you must first understand what this illusion really is, and why it was built. That's where we go next. Beneath the poetry of love lies machinery, ancient, silent, relentless. Most never notice it. They don't ask why we fall for certain people or why we suffer so deeply when they leave. But Schopenhauer did. And what he found was not romantic, it was brutal. He called it the will to life, an invisible force that doesn't care about your dreams, your happiness, or your heartache. It only cares about one thing: continuation, not of you as a person, but of your lineage, your DNA. Love, he argued, is not a higher calling. It's a biological strategy, nature's cunning way of fooling you into reproduction. You're not drawn to someone because they complete your soul. You're drawn because, unconsciously, your body detects qualities that might optimize survival in your offspring. That spark you feel? That's your biology calculating, selecting, seducing. Not for joy, but for propagation. This is the illusion. And it's not limited to Schopenhauer. Carl Jung spoke of it too, but in different terms. He warned that much of what we call love is projection, the unconscious casting of our inner needs, traumas, and fantasies onto another person. We don't see them as they are, we see them as we need them to be. So when they fall short of that image, as they always do, we crumble. Nietzsche went further. He believed love was will to power in disguise, an attempt to possess, to control, to immortalize ourselves through another. Love, in this view, isn't selfless. It's strategic. It hides domination beneath devotion. And if you think society would have helped us see through the illusion, think again. Culture only magnifies the lie. Every movie, every song, every childhood fairy tale reinforces the myth that love is the highest good, the ultimate goal, the missing piece of your soul. But in truth, this myth feeds the machine, because when you're convinced that love will save you, you will sacrifice anything to find it, your logic, your freedom, sometimes even your dignity. Schopenhauer saw that this blind pursuit wasn't a mistake. It was the system working perfectly. Life disguises survival as romance, desire as destiny, and attachment as purpose. And the unwitting players confuse the illusion for truth. But once you see the strings, once you feel them pulling, you can't unsee them. You start to question every past relationship, every tear, every passionate vow. Was it you speaking, or something deeper and darker? And still, the illusion endures, because to question it fully is to risk collapsing a part of yourself, the part that still wants to believe. But what happens when you stop believing? What happens when you confront the full weight of this illusion and refuse to look away? You begin to see its cost, and that's where the real unraveling begins. You didn't choose to be born with this illusion. It was stitched into you cell by cell, thought by thought. And so you chase it, not because you're foolish, but because you're human. Because to question love is to question meaning itself. But what if that meaning is the cage? The illusion Schopenhauer exposed doesn't just distort your desires, it shapes the very architecture of your life. From the moment you begin to crave affection, to the day you mourn the loss of someone who completed you, you're moving along a track laid by nature, not reason. And the price of walking that path is far higher than anyone admits. Look at your patterns. The lovers you clung to, even when they shattered you. The jealousy that twisted your insides. The identity you built around being the one for someone else. Where did those instincts come from? Not your values, not your soul, but something deeper, something older. Neurologically, love hijacks the same circuits as addiction. Dopamine surges, serotonin plummets, oxytocin bonds you like glue. Your brain doesn't care whether the person in front of you is kind or cruel. If they fulfill the ancient criteria, beauty, health, status, strength, it reacts the same way. Craving, obsession, withdrawal. And that's not an accident. That's the illusion doing its job. But the damage doesn't stop there. People stay in toxic relationships because their biology screams, "You need this." They confuse anxiety for passion, possession for care. They confuse trauma bonds for soulmates. It's a silent epidemic, one masked by roses, wedding rings, and anniversary posts. And when it fails, when the illusion cracks, what happens? Collapse, identity crisis, depression, because the person you thought would complete you has instead dismantled you. That's the hidden cost. You become fragmented. You pour your essence into someone who was never meant to carry it. And when they leave, or worse, stay and become a stranger, you're left with an echo of who you were. Society won't help you escape this cycle. In fact, it thrives on it. Entire industries, dating apps, therapy, fashion, entertainment, are built on your pursuit of romantic fulfillment. They don't want you to see through the illusion. They want you to stay hooked. And so most people never escape. They keep falling, hoping this time it's different, that this love is real. But Schopenhauer's truth waits quietly beneath it all. What you call love is the costume. The real actor is survival. And the tragedy is, the more you believe the lie, the more it robs you of freedom. So the question becomes, what does it look like to live without the illusion? To face life not with romantic fantasies, but with clear eyes? That's the rebellion, and it begins when you choose to see. Freedom begins the moment you stop romanticizing your own chains. You were taught that love is the answer, that finding Your person is the goal. But what if the most radical act of your life is not to fall in love, but to wake up from it? To rebel against this illusion doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means reclaiming the territory of your mind and body from an ancient force that has made decisions for you without your consent. It means interrupting the script that's been playing since before you were born. That's what Schopenhauer dared to do. He didn't just point at the illusion, he walked away from it. He saw that the will to life was insatiable, always demanding more desire, more attachment, more pain. To break free, he chose solitude over seduction, truth over comfort. He didn't see this as cynicism, he saw it as lucidity, and he wasn't alone. The Stoics practiced detachment not out of coldness, but out of power. Jung encouraged integration of the shadow, the raw primal drives we hide behind smiles and romance. Sartre asked us to live authentically in a world without pre-written meanings. These were not men running from love, they were men running toward truth. So, what does rebellion look like today? It starts by asking a terrifying question. What would I be without the illusion? What would your identity look like if it wasn't wrapped around another person's presence? What would your worth be if it wasn't measured by how desired you are? What choices would you make, not as a lover, but as a sovereign being? Rebellion is refusing to chase someone who triggers your wounds. It's noticing the spark and not calling it fate. It's finding joy in solitude, strength in clarity, and connection beyond craving. It's loving someone not because they fill a hole, but because they don't. And you're okay with that. The illusion tells you that suffering is romantic, that heartbreak is noble, that your worth is proven in how much you're willing to hurt for love. The truth? That's slavery. You don't owe your biology obedience. You don't owe your past self the continuation of a pattern. You don't owe society your conformity. You owe yourself the truth. Breaking free doesn't mean giving up on intimacy. It means giving up on the lie. It means building relationships rooted in consciousness, not compulsion. Connection without collapse. Desire without delusion. And most of all, it means seeing the illusion and still choosing. That's where real love begins, not in blind surrender, but in awakened participation, because the moment you see the strings is the moment you begin to cut them. And once you've cut them, there's only one truth left to face. There comes a moment, after the illusion has crumbled, after the craving has quieted, when silence floods in. It's not the silence of loneliness, it's the silence of truth. You sit with yourself, no longer chasing, no longer needing, and you feel something strange, something unfamiliar. It's not elation, not passion, it's weightless, like a soul unshackled. That is what Schopenhauer pointed toward, not a life without love, but a life without illusion, a life where you no longer serve the will to life, but see it for what it is, a blind, endless engine, not evil, not good, just indifferent. And in that indifference, you are free to choose your meaning. This is the ultimate truth. You were never meant to be happy through another. You were meant to awaken through yourself. The illusion was a teacher. Pain was the lesson. Every heartbreak you survived, every moment you mistook desire for destiny, it wasn't in vain. It was a mirror. It showed you what you thought you needed, so you could learn what you actually are. Not a half, waiting to be completed. Not a child waiting to be held, but a whole, entire, awake. You don't need to run from love, but you must stop mistaking it for salvation. The final realization doesn't ask you to become numb. It asks you to become honest. It invites you to meet others not with the hunger to be saved, but with the courage to be seen. This kind of love, if we can still call it that, is not built on possession or projection. It has no soundtrack, no fairy tale arc. It is quiet, unclenched. It does not demand. It does not beg. It walks beside you, not ahead of you. And if it ends, you don't collapse. Because you never lost yourself in it to begin with. This is what Schopenhauer left us. Not a roadmap to happiness, but a key to sovereignty. He didn't want you to hate love. He wanted you to understand it, to see the wires, to step outside the trance, and when you do, you don't become cynical, you become clear. In a world that worships obsession, clarity is rebellion. So sit with yourself now, not as a seeker, but as someone who has seen behind the curtain. Ask, what do I want now that I'm no longer asleep? Because the illusion is over, and what comes next is yours to create. Not dictated by biology, not shaped by fear, but chosen with eyes wide open. This is the rarest kind of freedom and the beginning of a different kind of love. One without illusion, one without need, one that starts and ends with you.